Well, hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Hasina and Tom. And yeah, we were just talking a little, well, we were talking about a lot of things just as we got going here. And one of the things that Hasina and I were in conversation about was a land acknowledgement, and this is something that more and more people in North America are doing, and it's acknowledging that we share the land with people who were here a long time before us, and I for one am certainly looking around at our environment and saying, my goodness, we really need help with this, and we need some of the old wisdom ways. And so one of the things that I have started doing and that I love to do is to acknowledge the land that we're on. And so I will share a local one that I've heard here in Calgary, Alberta a few times, or versions of it. I've added a few things of my own to it. Um, but yeah, it's just to acknowledge everybody for their contribution to what we've created here so far. So, in the spirit of respect, reciprocity, and truth, we honor and acknowledge the Mokinistas and the traditional Treaty 7 territory and the oral practices of the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprising of the Siksika, Kainai, Piikani First Nations, the Istika, Nakota, comprising the Bearspaw, Goodstoney, and Chiniki First Nations, and the Tsuut'ina First Nation. We acknowledge that this territory is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3, within the historical Northwest Métis homeland. Finally, we acknowledge all nations, Indigenous and non, who live, work, and play on this land and who honor and celebrate this territory. This sacred gathering space provides us with an opportunity to engage in and demonstrate leadership on reconciliation. Thank you for your enthusiasm and commitment to join in that on the lands of Treaty 7 territory, either virtually or here in person where I am on Treaty 7. And I believe that the outer reconciliation we seek begins with, with our respective individual inner reconciliation. And we can only reconcile outwardly to the extent that we've done so internally. And so if you're open to taking some steps in that direction, you'll have an opportunity to experience some of that today in our session. So, yeah. And
Thank you.
I'd love to invite anybody on the call if there is a local nation in your vicinity that you'd like to celebrate, then please go ahead and either speak it out or put that in the chat, because we are a world community here.
Thank you so much, Holly. That is so deeply touching. And yeah, I loved when you explained to me. So thank you for doing that. And I had to actually go off my Zoom because sometimes technology just doesn't collaborate. So I'm on my phone, and I don't think we quite got to introduce you and your amazingness, that you're a flamenco guitarist, but you're also a healer, that you believe in healing and restoring gut brain health, just restoring through yoga and through different modalities, the whole coming back to center, which is so important to say as we get started in this journey. And I think, why wait anymore? If you want to say something about your flamenco guitar journey before you get started, please say that, because I know art is a very personal thing. But just flow into it as you feel called.
Sure. Thank you so much for that introduction, Hasina. I'm sorry for jumping in so quickly. Um, yeah, I was telling the group that I was very, very curious about the guitar and about Spanish language, even from a young age. I was telling everyone that I we had a family friend who spoke Spanish, and I was just completely like, oh my goodness, what is this language? And when I started studying Spanish formally in university, I was dreaming in Spanish within the first 2 weeks. And this was while I was getting a music degree. In terms of flamenco, it was more like a trail of breadcrumbs. It was something that was a very deep part of my consciousness. I knew that I wanted to play flamenco, but I didn't know what to call it. And so I requested a guitar from my parents, and they, provided me with one, which was lovely. And but it was a few laps around the track before I discovered flamenco. And when I did, it was just like I sort of by this point had known what it was, or I knew what to call it. But I received a gift from my grandmother, who was a jazz aficionado, and it was a gift of this fusion flamenco fusion player. And when I heard that, it was like, and I'm not even kidding, it was like being in love. You know that feeling that you have when you first meet somebody and you go to sleep and you can't sleep because you're thinking about them. It was exactly like that for me when I first, heard the style of flamenco that really called me, which was like that modern, like it's so wild, and it was just so fabulous. And I have to say, this was actually a really important part of my own personal gut healing journey as well, because prior to that time, I'd had chronic fatigue and a lot of food sensitivities. And around, within a year of one another, I started doing yoga. I started playing flamenco, and I knew that I was well on the path when I could sleep for 10 hours a night and feel rested, and when I didn't have to eat so strictly, and to be able to feel well and function well and all of that. And one of the most interesting things that happened for me was that, and this was something that even occurred while I was studying classical guitar, but it reared its head again when I started playing flamenco. Was I experienced a lot of repetitive strain injuries. And when my physiotherapist at the time, who specialized in musicians' injuries, when she found out that I did yoga, she said, don't ever stop, because if you do, your playing career will be over with the state that my body was in. I had a lot of, like scoliosis and things like that. And what was fascinating, and I didn't realize this until looking at it in retrospect, was that as I did all the things for the repetitive strain injuries, so, and Tom, you'll understand this, so think arms, neck, shoulders, doing all these things for the repetitive strain injuries, doing all of these things like the breathing and so on to help to help the energy flow through my body well, so that I wouldn't get injured while I was playing. At the same time, my gut health just kept getting better and better and better and better. And I realize now in retrospect that all this conversation about the vagus nerve, I was just doing all this work on the vagus nerve without, because this was in the days before people were really talking much about it in the mainstream. And so, yeah, so it's this beautiful, beautiful synergy, surprisingly. I mean, these disparate parts that have, or seemingly disparate parts that have come together in a really beautiful way for me, so that I can offer this to the world. And I think the one last thing that I'd love to say before I turn it back is to say that I know in our current cultural conversation, we talk a lot about the gut-brain connection. And in my client work, I talk a lot about the gut-brain-heart connection, because and I see this so much in my clients, that as they resolve some of the tensions in their past and in their relationships, and in like whatever's going on in their life, and and of course the past is the present if it's still very present for you. As we resolve that, and for myself certainly as well, as I resolve those issues, then again, my gut health got better and better. And as I began to express myself more, my gut health got better and better. So I really believe in, and I feel that it should be just included so beautifully too, that it's the gut brain heart connection.
If I start talking, applauding you, I'll never stop. God bless you. And it's probably not an accident that we opened the session with you suggesting that you paid attention to the subtle messages. And we don't always know the entirety or the clarity of what's coming to us. And I had a similar awakening myself, and I won't go into it, but yoga was a beautiful doorway and is for so many people. Once you get past that, and it's a very simple and profound way to attend to the thing that's happening, right? How do I attend to the way my fingers are opening? How do I attend to the way I'm holding my coffee mug, etc.? And so I would guess that you, in communion with your dreams, and saying yes, even though you didn't quite know what that was going to bring about. Yeah. And so is there a similar dynamic for you? We're going to talk about chakra oriented music. And by the way, I've never heard anybody say a physiatrist or a physical therapist who specialized in musician injuries. That's outstanding.
Yeah, well, she saved my life. She saved my life. I mean, yeah, it was the work that I did with this person was absolutely profound. And yeah, I mean, and it was a serious overhaul. I mean, when I started working with her, I remember that first session so clearly. She said to me, like, she just kind of assessed what was going on for me in my body. I had a nerve entrapment in the wrist that was a combination of things, but it originated with a nerve entrapment in the shoulder. And so it was something where she just said, okay, you need to clear your schedule for the next year. She said, no, don't book any performances for the next year. And she said, you can play 3 10-minute sets a day as long as you're pain free. And so I didn't pick up the guitar for 3 weeks because I was just like, what do I even do in 10 minutes? It just, and I just spent a lot of time crying, to be honest. And so it was a revelation. And I mean, I still practice this in certain ways where I did the 10-minute sets a day, and I would set my timer, and then I'd take a break and stretch and do a lot of yoga and do the exercises that she'd given me. And then the following week, it was 3 12-minute sets a day. And when I got up to 3 20-minute sets a day, I was absolutely astounded at how much I could get done. How like it's like it actually taught me to be in timeless time.
the restorative power of rest, and you had a
Yeah.
sense of reflection, I suppose.
Oh, very much a sense of reflection. Although, I mean, it was hard. I mean, at that time in my life, I mean, I had been journaling a lot up to that point. I started journaling when I was in my teens, but yeah, there was just a lot of becoming present and getting out of the mind and connecting up the mind and the body. So one of the things that I did early on, and I ended up revisiting this while I was in my yoga training, was one of the things. Yeah, when I was in my yoga training, we had to write a paper on the breath, and so because the music was so present for me, I decided to do some experiments with breath, and I just practiced picking up my guitar and holding my guitar and seeing if I could breathe yogically, diaphragmatically, and just keep the breath moving through my body. And I was shocked at how challenging that was because simply picking up the instrument and holding it brought about a stress response for me.
Mm.
So yeah, so I mean, it was a delicious process in terms. I mean, now I pick up my instrument and it's like, oh, I'm in my happy place. And it's not that I wasn't in my happy place before. It's just that it was, it coincided with stress because I had a lot of stage fright. I'd suffered from a lot of stage fright in university, and I found that in my experience of playing classical guitar was that it really brought out the perfectionist in me, and flamenco was something that was very freeing.
Yeah, that's amazing, Holly. Isn't it awesome, that point of origin where you actually get started and you think most of us have that point as what we think is the disaster in our life. And it's just, like I say, the birthplace of that light.
Yes. Yeah, it was the best, and I would even argue the only thing that could have happened. It's the only thing that could have happened was for me to get injured because of the way that I was working, because of the way that the energy was getting stuck for me. And yeah, I mean, we all have to master ourselves, right? And that's what the journey is about.
Yeah. So let's hand over the floor to you, and you just go as you feel called.
Sure. So yeah, let's just start with a quick little meditation. We're just going to connect to divine light and unconditional love. So I invite you to close your eyes and feel your seat on the chair, or if you're reclining, feel your body, feel the support under your body. And imagine that you see a light turn on the back of your body. And take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And imagine that you see a light, a beautiful, bright, white, iridescent light turn on in front of your body. And another deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And imagine that you see a light turn on to your right and to your left. And take another deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And imagine that you see a light turn on underneath your feet and up overhead. And take another deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And imagine that this beautiful, bright, white, iridescent light is touching every single cell of the surface of your body. And imagine that you're breathing it in and you're breathing it out. And as you breathe it in, you're experiencing this beautiful connection with the light. And in the course of this practice, you might experience some kind of a physical release, and especially as you're breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, you might experience burping, yawning, your eyes might tear, you might notice them crying. And so whatever your body does to release, just go ahead and let it do that. In this type of practice, it's always better when we release those things. And even if you find yourself yawning, don't feel that you have to cover your mouth. You don't want to cover it up and hold it in. Just allow the energy to come out. And if none of these things happen, then the very least is that you can breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. So as you're releasing, I mean, we release more waste through the breath in like the breath throughout the day than we do in any other way, which is pretty astounding, I find. And so bring your attention now to your heart center. And if you want to, you can place your hands over your heart center if it helps you bring your attention and your energy to the heart. And invoke compassion. And would you like to know that you can experience infinite compassion for yourself and for others? That you can download endless possibilities and that you're divinely supported in every way. And if you would like that, then just say yes, either to yourself in your mind or out loud. And I'm just going to be quiet for a little moment. There we go. And take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And then also bring your attention now to your third eye. And if you want to, you can just tap gently on the third eye space. And whatever your understanding is of God, the divine source, would you like to have sources, perspective, understanding, value, definition, and truth on wisdom and discernment? And if you would like that, then say yes. And then take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. So I find that with the chakras, these are always good places to start, with the heart and with the wisdom and discernment, because if we have that compassion, we have the wisdom and we have the discernment, then we can meet whatever shows up. And so we're going to do, we're not going to do all of the chakras today in the interest of time. But what I invite you to do as we start with the music is to stay in this beautiful, bright white light space, in this place of infinite possibilities and of unconditional love. And as much as you're able to, invoke what I would refer to as full body listening. And that is listening beyond the mind and beyond the sense of hearing, allowing whatever experience to arise. And what I've noticed with this in the past is that the mind may or may not appreciate the sounds that you're hearing. But if you listen with your whole body, then you will have an experience that goes far beyond the mind. And so, yeah, I just love to invite you to do that. And so I'm going to share a piece that is for that I wrote for the root chakra, which relates to the earth. I just felt that this the earth just connects us, doesn't it? We're all connected. I think of the root system of the plants and the trees and how they're all connected. This is also all of humanity. And there's this beautiful thing that happens musically, which is that when like the tempo of 60 beats per minute, which that's just like one beat per second, that is a unifying force. And so I'm going to start off just creating this rhythm. And if you want to, you can actualize this rhythm. You'll find that it'll speed up over time, but I'm just going to tap out this rhythm, and you can either clap it or touch your leg, or like whatever works for you, and you'll hear the music come into it. So and so start to breathe with this. And so now that we're all grounded and perhaps with a feeling of lightness as well, let's come back to the heart. And so the heart center relates to the element of air, and it relates to movement, to change, to subtlety. It relates to touch and to the hands. And in the heart, when we're mastered in the heart, we have mastery over our emotions and a sense of compassion, and we have a sense of devotion. And so in relation to our topic today of humanity and human rights, let's think of this in terms of the way that healing always starts with ourselves. And so I invite you to consider, what do you wish the world would do differently? And what truth would you love to have seen and acknowledged more? And please go ahead and put those truths that you would love to have seen and acknowledged more into the chat, because we're going to do something with that. So I'll give you a moment to do that. So Nancy says she'd like the world to be more kind. Beautiful. Hasina, that we are all beings of light, to be more respectful, that we let go of judgment. This is excellent. Yeah, there's a lot of juice in here. And so one of the mentors that I've studied with just came with this beautiful turnaround here, which is whatever it is that we want to see in others more, that is our heart work. In other words, we are meant to embrace that more fully in some way. And so you don't have to put this in the chat, but just if there's something that comes to you in terms of, in what ways do you need to do that more with yourself? And I'm seeing more thoughts coming up in the chat here that I would just like to. Tom says, I would like the world to be more curious and hungry to connect with the next great truth. Yay. And so this is what's beautiful. I just want to light on this for a moment, because not only, so, and I'm just going to like even expound on this thing that that my mentor was saying, is like, yes, it is your heart work. And I just want to connect with what you've said here, Tom, that it is not only, I mean, it actually is your heart work. I know you well enough to know that this is like, you are just so hungry to connect to the next great truth, and you are so lit up by that, and you light up everybody around you with that. That it is your purpose to embody that in the world. And the more you do that, and the more you focus on that, the more you light the world up with that truth that you would like. And so Nancy says to be better listeners. Yes, giggle. Yes, and to giggle. Yes, we need to giggle more. Juliet says that we are all one in source, different aspects and cells of the whole, like a body comprised of many diverse cells, organs, and systems. Nancy, belly laugh, tickle ourselves and others. Yes, absolutely. This is so good. We're going to use this. And so as we go into the piece that is for the heart center, it's going to start with something that like a little bit of a darker sound. And then we're going to go into, it's going to go into something positive. It's going to go into something happy, because the number, oh my gosh, it's one of my reminders at 11:11. I'm glad I didn't start playing yet. So what the number that I'm playing is an alegría, which in Spanish means happiness. The form is about happiness, and so it's, even though the gypsies have created so much music to express their sorrow and their feelings of oppression, the alegría is meant to express joy. And so we're going to start off with this darker little something, and then it's going to go into joy, which, and this, I don't know about everybody else here, but this has been certainly my experience of these unwanted emotions, is that when I really like feel them and really let them be, then it always erupts into joy. It always erupts into joy. And so it transmutes itself. So here we go. Let's start off. And so I just want to acknowledge that we've maybe taken a little extra time than what we meant to. So if we want, I can. What I'd love to do, if there's time now, is just to take a moment and we'll actually like really, really firmly download these things that everybody has said that they would love to have. Is everyone okay with that? And so stepping back into the light in case you left it at all, or in case that isn't as present for you as it was. Bringing that light back in around you. Would you like to know who you are and how to live your life every day, knowing that it's safe and possible, that you're good enough, worthy, and deserve to, and that it's your birthright to be more kind, and to know that we're all beings of light, that we're respectful, that we're non-judgmental, that you can be curious and hungry to connect with the next great truth, to be a good listener, to know that we're all one in source, to know that it's okay to laugh, to tickle yourselves and others, to tickle ourselves and others, that when we work together, we have a healthy whole. And to know that joy is yummy and that this is all safe and possible. And if you'd love to have that, then in your mind, say yes. And let's request of God, Source, the Divine, that anybody on the planet who wants this right now, that they can also have it. And take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just take a little, maybe another breath or two, just to bask in the deliciousness of all of that. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes. And if Hasina or Tom, if you have anything that you'd like to add or include. And I noticed that Nancy has her hand up, so maybe she's got a question.
Yeah. Well, let's go to Nancy.
Okay. Well, I just practiced what I preached. I'm so proud of myself. I'm lying on my bed, dark room, and I started tickling with my belly. I thought, I forgot what it's like to be tickled. So I started tickling my belly and real lightly, like, oh, just ever so lightly. And then I moved up to my chest. And then I thought, oh yeah, under the arms, that got me going. And then I thought, oh, every time I get a massage and she does my feet, or the pedicure person, I just get giggling when they use that little scrub brush. So like right now, I've got my one left leg bent over my right knee, lying on the bed, and I'm now starting to tickle the bottom of my feet. And you know what? I'm discovering this is the best self inner healing I could could give my body instead of all
Beautiful.
this thinking about, oh, body heal itself. I love you. All I have to do is now I'm going to do my other foot. I have to balance myself. Yes. Oh, God. This is wonderful. This is laughter yoga. This is like beautiful. Thank you for letting me share.
Well, and what I want to say is that I just love the way you're taking care of your little corner of the collective, Nancy. This is how we arrive at, world peace.
Yes, it is. Inner peace first. Uh-huh.
Yes, yeah. We have
Yeah.
to like first the inner, then the outer, as above, so below.
Yeah. In fact, I'm 75, and when I was 13, it was such a beautiful day when I woke up and looked out the windows, and I said to myself, okay, Lord, today's the day I want you to tell me what you want me to do for the rest of my life. And I quickly put on my little play suit, ran out the front door. Where do I go out into nature to be with God, to get my answer? And I thought, okay, right in the middle of the lawn. So I made like an X, and then I zoomed over to that intersection and I laid down. And as I was running, actually, I said, okay, Lord, I'll give you half an hour. And then, because I had my pogo stick to jump on. So I went over and I laid down on the grass, and I got looking at the clouds. And the one cloud turned into a clown. And I just laughed out loud. I said, Lord, you are so funny. And then I continued looking and everything was fine. And then I sensed that the half an hour was up. And I thought, okay, God, I know you're being with other little girls and boys who need you more than me at this moment. So I'm okay with that. I know you'll tell me, somehow later. So I got up to go to jump on my pogo stick in the garage. My left foot was still on the ground. My right foot was like in the air, bent, ready to take a step onward, forward, upward. And all of a sudden, like from my right eye out about 18, 20 inches, I heard a voice, audible voice outside of myself saying, world peace. I said, what, Lord? World peace. I said, but the world is in peace. It's 1960s. It is in peace. What do you want me to do? You want me to do something with peace? What do you want me to do? No answer. No answer. So I thought, okay, I know you'll tell me later. I'm going to run off to my pogo stick. And that has been on my heart since age 13, and I'm 75, and I'm like just now loving myself, just now getting over a sexual thing that happened at age 2, 3 that I was not consciously aware of until I was 44. A wonderful mom, and yet she had the same kind of manic behavior I did. I was sort of imitating her. She was super efficient, very proper, and very fun-loving. And I wouldn't have suspected, a little sarcastic, sadistic kind of Irish comments to me every now and then. Oh, you can't even flush the toilet right. Well, then that haunts me. Thank goodness she lived to be 96 and we had a chance to talk about this, heal it. She apologized. She didn't know why she would have said that. And so even in the first musical piece you played, I cried through the whole thing. I put myself in my mom's shoes because she was my best friend. And then it's just the opposite showed up. The patterns were so opposite. So anyway, I know you said you're over. So, okay, yeah, I'm forgetting about that. I'll cut this short. So everything, the first healing, the first musical thing was healing, just crying that I don't even know if I really knew my mom because I didn't even really know myself until just recently. It's like a whole new world is opening up of this love and kindness and safety and all the positive words in the dictionary that honor the creator.
Every single
Okay.
beat, every single beat, every single beat. What if that's, thank you. It's a beautiful story. And what if the opening up is in the moment, in the moment, in the moment, right? We've
It
got it
is.
inside our noggin here.
Thank
Coming down
you.
to the bottom of the hour, and we actually, and Juliet is, I can see in her eyes scrambling, wondering how she's going to follow that. Are you gonna tickle us to death too, to life, tickle us to new life? Thank you, Nancy.
That was wonderful, Nancy. Yeah, I like the tickling. No, just want to say thank you very much. I was really moved, and it's so wonderful to hear the flamenco again. The first piece was really clenching to me. I lived with gypsies and in the 70s, and we bought, sold, and traded horses, mules, and donkeys throughout the Sierra Nevada, and were herding, had sheep and goats. So a lot of singing, a lot of dancing, and the flamenco was centerpiece to all of that. And it was such a very powerful time. So particularly that first piece just brought me right back, and it was so beautiful. So I thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Juliet. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Holly. And I just love how in the moment, you know, the co-creation came. I was planning to stream this, and my technology, for a reason, obviously behaved differently than I would have liked. But it's so great that this is recorded, and it just happened as it was meant to. And thank you for being with that, and just being with that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here today. It was really a pleasure to be with all of you. And I mean, I'll take the chances I can get to be with Hasina and Tom and their group for sure. You know, you two just do such a high vibe situation here. I always feel so good when I've been around you.
Oh, thank you. And we're just going